Okay, hey now everybody, we're back, brand new episode of Take Aim, and this week I have Chris Hall, my buddy from California via Oklahoma. Chris is an extraordinary blacktail hunter, turkey hunter, and excited to talk about some California blacktail because that is one thing that just seems to not get covered in a lot of media, magazines, or even podcasts. So excited to have this episode come out. Hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you guys next week. All right, guys, we're live, brand new Take Game, and excited to have my good buddy back with me, Chris Hall. What is happening, Chris?
Brandon, good morning, buddy.
What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Just headed to the job site here. Watched some birds fly out of the roost this morning on my way. Some calling, just kind of getting jacked up and geared up for turkey season, man.
Exactly, man. I'm excited for you. Your turkey season is coming a little bit before ours here in Michigan, but I know you do a lot of nice turkey photos like on your Instagram and your Insta stories, but it's pretty cool. Like, I always look forward to seeing them because they're some of the prettiest photos of birds you'll ever see.
Yeah, the birds are awesome, man. I love these Rios, and there's quite an abundance out here, man. People don't know, but at least the area of California in which I live in, the population of birds is outstanding, man. And I think some of the turkey thug guys are known to quote that statement a few times. So it's a great location, tons of birds, and fortunately for me, in my travels, I get the opportunity to take lots of photos, and every chance I get, I do. Pretty cool, man. It's exciting. Gets me all jacked up.
Yeah, exactly. I know that, and I should say, for those that don't know, it's Hornstar Outdoors on Instagram, _star_outdoors. So you can find Chris there in a lot of his photos, which are, like I said, just flat out kick-ass. Like, I'm looking at the one right now with the 4 big times right in front of the hen, right behind the hen. But Chris is always posting great, pretty photos. There's nothing prettier than a turkey big time in the spring anyway, strutting around.
Oh, man. Especially with the sun shining down on top of them, and those feathers give that kind of a glow. It's incredible, man. They're beautiful animals, but they're extremely ugly at the same time, if that makes sense.
I know, it's so bizarre, man. They just remind me of if an alien came from outer space and wanted to be a bird, it's a turkey. I mean, that's what they decided to be. They're so bizarre and unique in their own way. It's amazing.
Yeah, especially the ocellated turkey, man, with the big wart-looking things all over its head, man. It's insane, dude. That'd be one for the books to get the opportunity to hunt one of those guys.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. I mean, besides the warts, but they have that, very cool, I don't know if you want to call it a turquoise or very, like, aqua blue colored in their feathers. It's just amazing bird. It really is.
Almost like a different species of turkey, and a peacock, mated and made this ocellated turkey. It's crazy, man. It's cool.
It definitely is. It definitely is a stepson of a peacock turkey.
That's awesome. But yeah, one day, man, it'd be awesome to try to go for the Grand Slam, but God, that takes a lot of time that I don't have to do that. But maybe one day it's something I can do, and be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about, if anybody that's listening to this is really interested in doing that, the time is really there. It's kind of like making in time to do it, and that's kind of what Chris means. Like, a lot of these turkey hunts you can do in 2 or 3 days. Not saying you're going to have success, but a lot of places you can go outfitter-wise that specialize in some of these subspecies of these turkeys do it in very small, 3-day window hunts, which is pretty cool. Obviously, a different story if you're doing it something do it yourself. But if you're looking to, kind of run through and get the Grand Slam, I mean, you can legitimately reach out to some of these outfitters and plan some of these hunts in 3 days.
Yeah, and some of these states also to possess, multiple species. So that makes it a little easier. But, it'd be something fun to do, just I enjoy turkey hunting, and to be able to say I've, hunted all species, it'd be pretty awesome, man. So maybe one day you and I can get together and do that, Brandon.
Yeah, hopefully
right.
soon. And we've been threatening for like 4 years now, so.
I know, man. It's tough, too, with the family and work, and, lately, the last few years I haven't really been able to get out of state as often as I had in the past, so. But yeah, we'll definitely make it happen one day, man. It's a must for me, my friend. So.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing, like I want to do just being the off season for being a whitetail hunter, is you do a really awesome hunt, Javelina hunt in Arizona. Like, what is it, Chris? In January? Is it February?
I think don't quote me. I don't know what the season dates are exactly, but I would go kind of around the beginning of January and archery hunt them, and I'd hunt them up north. So you're looking at snow and possible 10 to 15 degree weather, minus degree. Depends on the forecast. But it's awesome, man. It's a lot of fun to hunt them, dude. They're an amazing animal, man. They make some of the most unique sounds ever. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. I know Texas offers that too, but Arizona's right in my backyard, so a little more convenient to go do it. But I didn't do it last year, but I did it, 3-4 years prior to that, and it's always a good time.
Yeah, I bet. So tell me a little before which everybody knows I love to talk about deer, and we're going to talk about deer today, but tell me a little bit about that hunt real quick for some of the people that haven't heard you on the show before. Just give me the layout of the terrain, temperatures, and is it spot and stock for javelinas, or how do you guys usually do it?
Yeah, it's spot and stock. The terrain varies, man. Just going a couple of miles can change, but for the most part, where we've had the most success is it's kind of like the foothill of the mountain range. I don't know the name of the mountain range. I'm not familiar, but I've been there numerous times. But it's kind of the foothill. It's almost like this basin, and it's just covered with cactus and prickly pear, which they like to eat prickly pear. And the brush is so thick and short, you literally have to crawl on your hands and knees, one step at a time, placing your bow out in front of you to get through this stuff. But they tend to hold up in that stuff. At least, it'd be a specific area that we hunt. So you kind of crawl, work your way in, and it's funny, man. Javelinas, it's not part of the swine family. They're actually called a collared peccary, and I don't know if that's part of the rodent family or what, but they have a smell to them. They have a musk, if you will, and they're also known as stink pigs because they kind of smell like a skunk to some degree. So, you always know when you're getting close to a fresh bed or you're getting close to, some of the javelina themselves, provided the wind's in the right direction. They don't see the best, and they kind of have to turn their heads sideways to see you. So as they're trying to figure out what you are, their heads are moving around. They never look directly at you. So with that being said, it's hard to get a broadside shot because if they are aware of your presence, trying to figure out what's going on, if they can't smell you, they're always moving around and repositioning. But nonetheless, they're curious too. So wind factor is a huge thing, just like any other animal. But they are curious. So if they're not sure what you are and they can't smell you, they tend to make a few advances toward you. And it's interesting, man, because especially if they have any piglets with them. Piglets, they use that term loosely. I don't know if that's what they call baby javelina, but they make these weird chattering sounds with their teeth, almost like to ward off any danger. And it's creepy, man. It's a creepy sound. And I've heard it before, but being there 10, 15 yards, 20 yards from it as they do it, this chattering, grunting sound, dude, it's crazy, man. I can't even really explain it, but they're amazing animals, man. They're fun to hunt. They are all red meat. There's no white meat whatsoever, like pigs are. So it's awesome, man. I've hunted them in the snow. I've hunted them in the rain, and much like any other animal, when it's pouring down rain, man, they hold up. But
that is cool. I mean, so they have like a basic sound or communication system to let other javelinas know, like, hey, something's bad in the area, something's not right.
The best way I can describe it is they chatter their teeth.
Oh, okay.
And I guess that's it. They chatter them, and they make these grunting, weird, high-pitched, low-pitched tones. What that means, I don't know. I'm not very versed on Javelina and their communication and all that stuff. I just know from experience and hunting them over the years that they are pretty damn cool.
Yeah, for sure. How do you rate their nose, Chris, as far as other animals you've hunted?
Say that one more time, Brandon.
I said, how do you rate their nose, their sense of smell?
I mean, it's great. It really is. I mean, because, much like, other wildlife, if they can't smell you but they see you, they try to work, the downwind direction. They have great noses. I mean, they don't see very good, and, the old saying that, you lack one sense or another sense, the other ones become heightened. So with their vision not being the best, I mean, typical of most pigs, their noses are extremely good. So wind factor is obviously a big thing. But again, they're very curious animals. So usually if you scare one off, they don't go too far and you can get back on it pretty quick. But they are fast, they move around a lot, and they're in thick cover. So 9 times out of 10, you got them 15 yards, but you have no shot because it's so thick, at least where I hunt.
Right,
But
yeah.
when you're hunting the vast mountain ranges with, manzanita and prickly pear and cactus spread out, and you have all these huge openings, you just wait for your opportunity. But when you're in their beds, which is where we go, it's really tough. But, man, I tell you what, man, the opportunities are frequent and a lot of action typically.
Yeah, that's super cool, and I definitely hopefully we get to plan that maybe for next year. It would be an awesome hunt to do with you.
Yeah, it's a fairly inexpensive hunt, too. Now, the area I go in Arizona is a draw unit, and we're specific to that location because we have a place to stay. So I think I've drawn it pretty much every year, but it's Unit 21. But it's a cool little spot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know I'm kind of excited to talk to you a little bit about your blacktail hunt for this past year. And, Chris is I kind of call Oklahoma the Midwest, but you're a Oklahoma whitetail hunter, moved to California, and all of us know once you get that deer hunting in your blood, it never leaves you. And Chris has turned into amazing, which is really hard to do, amazing blacktail hunter. But Chris ended up shooting a great blacktail. Man, when was that, Chris? Was that in October?
Yeah, that was in October.
Okay, that's what I thought. But awesome buck. And I know Chris puts in so much time, so much effort. And me and Chris talk about, the blacktail hunting quite a bit. And it's just crazy some of the stuff he tells me just because they're, as Chris kind of has called them, nomadic almost, so to speak. So, but I'll let Chris take over. But just, basically I'm just trying to compliment Chris because I know it's such a hard task to shoot these deer, especially with the bow.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, Brandon. But, yeah, man, it started off as a rough season to kind of lead up to it, in the past, and especially the podcast you and I had a number of years ago, 2014, I believe it was. I had a really good location with a high population of deer and, a handful of quality deer. And, I kind of all put my eggs all in one basket for that opportunity over the years. And we had a fire come through there, and it burned up 101 square miles. And with that, the legalization of commercial marijuana grows also came into play. And within that location, I could count 7 to 8 commercial marijuana grows. And with that, it destroyed the deer populations. I did find some dead deer, looked them over, couldn't find any signs of being shot or poached in any way, almost as if they were poisoned. And upon some research, I do believe that to be a fact. With that being said, I went from seeing anywhere from 10 to 15 legal bucks on trail camera over the course of a few months to seeing 0. So that kind of destroyed that honey hole, if you will, for me. So I had to search other avenues. And now to get to this season, still kind of planned on, hunting that area and just trying to see if I could just, muster up a little bit more luck out of there, but with no avail. So I went to some other areas, and I'd seen some deer on camera, some good ones, some nice ones, that got me excited. But, everything was at nighttime, as some of you may not know, but California deer season for my area starts middle of August. So we're dealing with, 95 to 110, 115 degree weather. So, in the velvet, like whitetail, when they're in the velvet, they tend to get out more to feed, and, you see them more often. So we do get the opportunity to hunt them in velvet, but still with the heat, with it being so hot, it's just, man, who wants to get out of their bed? You know what I mean? They don't have to. And so that's something we combat on a year-to-year basis. With that being said, things weren't looking very good.
So, Chris, can I back up 1 second? I just wanted to talk about, the reason that potentially some of these deer you think were being poisoned is because obviously they must wreak havoc on the marijuana farms, which is really funny.
And they do eat it. I've done some research. I'd say, from my understanding, they don't eat the immature plant. They eat the mature plant. So the first year upon the first quote-unquote harvest, if you will, that when the plants are the most mature and they're getting ready to pick, that's when I started seeing the deer. And I did some research and talked to some people, and rumor has it. Now, even though the commercial grows became legal, which they no longer are, there's also the illegal grows. And I think those, for the most part, are the problems. Those exist with or without the legalization. And so they put salt licks out, I guess, and they put poison on the salt licks. So naturally the deer are going to hit the salt lick on the way in and get some of that poison and then just, go off and die somewhere, I guess. And that's a known fact in that area. So I'm guessing that's maybe what happened. But regardless, between the constant commotion that now exists and the quote-unquote poisoning or killing of these deer, however way they do it, to keep them out of their plants, went from, again, 10 to 15 legal bucks on camera in a month to the next year, 0.
That is nuts, isn't it?
I'm talking like results for me for the past 5 years have been the exact same. I was very selective on what I took out of there. Just made sure it was a mature deer, and so that it's not like they were overhunted. So 0, man. 10 to 15 legal bucks on camera to 0 in less than a year's time.
So disappointing because it's not like you said, it's not like Michigan where a big chunk of ground is 40 acres. You're hunting like ranches, like huge acreage. So the odds of it being overhunted are pretty much, like you said, slim to none. Yeah,
and I mean, from my perspective, there's about a 800-foot elevation climb in this area, just straight up. I can get to the top of that. I got a pretty good access point. And if I get up there and just survey the land from up there, I can, like I said, I can count like 5 to 7 grows. And I would say if you were to put a square around it, it'd be somewhere just in the 2 miles radius. So, whitetail can easily cover 2 miles. And as mentioned before, these blacktail being nomadic, they cover a lot of ground, man. I've seen some of these same deer a few miles down, that I see on a regular basis. And so they were just hitting all these spots, man. And the constant commotion created, I'm sure, didn't help the cause either. But, both the factors contributing to basically decreased deer numbers. And it's pretty sad, man. It's something that still hurts, man. It's still painful to see that and understand that, and as much as we hunt these animals and kill these animals, we love these animals, man, and it's just it's a terrible thing, man. And there has been some things reported to Fish and Wildlife, but what actually is being done, it's something I don't really know what they're doing to combat this. So
right, yeah, that's horrible, man, and
it is.
I would assume it's kind of like you feel the same way as I felt like, we get bouts of EHD and you lose, which this is what the antis don't ever get, is how can we kill something and hunt something that we truly love so much. Like us finding those deer dead, it hurts us. We hate to see it. It is one of the saddest things we can even talk about. It's absolutely horrible. And that's one thing that their side will never understand is our love for these animals.
That's right. And, and I've heard it said before, so this isn't my quote, but I'd venture to say that any respectable hunter was faced with the decision of, hey, white-tailed deer will live 100% forever if we stopped hunting today. I think that every hunter would probably say, okay, I'll stop hunting if we can guarantee the livelihood of these animals.
Yeah,
we rely on these animals for food, and this is obviously a thrill in the pursuit, but it's just there's just more to it than that, and it's hard to explain. And I'm the worst person, Brandon. If I don't debate well, I kind of just keep to myself politically, just personally. I don't really get out and spout my views on people, and maybe I should more because, especially in California, our rights are always being threatened, especially, with the gun laws and things like that are now in play, and with all the recent shootings and, all this crazy stuff, man. But if the livelihood of hunting lied on my shoulders to get up and debate about it, I'd probably fail, man. I'm not good at it, man, and I wish I was better, but I'm just not, man. So I know it's in my heart as far as like protecting my rights and my wherewithal to do this and continue to do this and pass it on to my kids and in the future. It's just a tough thing for me to debate, man.
Yeah, it is. It's hard. Like debate, that's a skill set all on its own. It really is to be able to stay focused and answer questions, not get emotional, and just have that stuff stored in that memory bank on how to combat some of these point of views. But obviously that's a different subject, but
yeah.
But it does not take away from the fact of how much we care for the animals, versus what they think, that it's some sort of sport. But anyways, but your deer, Chris, let's get back to that real quick. How did that hunt go down? I know it was like early October, I want to say, which, like you said, it was probably still really warm. And, man, and like you said, a lot of people, I don't think ever had to face something like you had to face this past year with those fires that just ran everywhere through California.
Yeah, it was bad, man. I mean, we had that drought, and I think we had 3 record fires within the state all at the same time. So if you can imagine, if your house was burning down during that time, there wasn't a fireman around to do it because they were all shipped off in different locations. But anyway, so we've had a lot better rainfall this last year, and a lot of snow so far this year. So hopefully that's a good start to 2018, and that trend continues. So back to my buck. So again, most pictures were at nighttime, if any, and they weren't often enough for me to even really get excited. I try to stay positive as much as I can, being hunting and understanding how it works. But, when the deer aren't on camera, we kind of rely on those probably a little more than we should, but it's just hard to be confident. And so this is leading up to we went on a family vacation to Hawaii for 7 days. And then when I came back from vacation, I started pulling some trail cam cards, and there's this one specific buck, and this was the buck that I ended up shooting. He showed up during that 7 days 4 times during the daylight. This buck isn't a buck that I had seen before. I don't know where he came from, and he showed up 4 times during the day in the morning, between like the 6:15 to 7:45 time frame. And mind you, it's still hot in October. It's cooled down drastically compared to the season opener in mid-August. But so he showed up, and I was like, I can kill this deer. I can kill this deer, man. I mean, 4 times in 7 days he showed up, and it was like almost every other day. I mean, it's like, well, okay, well, with that trend, tomorrow's is the day he's going to be there. He wasn't there yesterday. Every other day, tomorrow's the day. So I literally got home from vacation, got home like 3 in the morning. And then I got up that next morning, checked the cameras, and I was like, well, that was Saturday. So now I'm like, Sunday would be the other day. Trend continues, which it's weird because I've never seen a blacktail do the same thing twice, ever. But I was like, oh, I can kill a deer. I just, things changed for me. I came home from an awesome vacation in Hawaii with the family, and then I got a deer showing up in the daylight, a nice deer to boot. And I literally, I mean, I've never seen this deer to him showing up while I was gone, came back, went out that next morning, and at 7:22 or something like that, here he comes. It was just like clockwork. It's like somebody handed me the script, and I just read it, and so did he, and we were both where we needed to be. I mean, as much as I like to say I hunted my butt off for this deer, I didn't, man. And sometimes it works that way, and it's great. So here he is, 7:22, 15 yards at one point. It was super thick. I couldn't get a shot. And then he walked on out, quartering away from me. And then he kind of turned towards me about 23 yards. I just let him have it. And I'll tell you this, man. I've been archery hunting since I was like 16, but I've been shooting a bow since I was 13. I have never seen a deer die so fast. I mean, I double lunged that guy, and within 10 seconds, he was upside down, just done. It was amazing, man. It's like a textbook, what we as hunters want to see, you know, that deer unknowingly of your presence, and then to be dead before he knew what was going on. It was awesome. I just kind of sat there up in that tree, and I was like, what just happened? You know, because I'd spent a good part of a month and a half hunting nothing. You know what I mean? Nothing was moving. Nothing was present. So it was amazing just for it all to come together like that. And that's just kind of bittersweet because we all, whether you hunt tree stands in the Midwest, whether you spot and stalk in the mountains and hike in 6 miles, it's an amazing feeling when things all come together, man. When that, you know, all that money we put in, all that time we put in comes to a head at that one moment. And it was just awesome, dude. I don't really have a lot of detail on this deer and no exciting lead up to it. It happened, and I jumped on the first opportunity I could, and it was just happened, man. It's just there. It was awesome, and it doesn't happen often for me like that, but I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we all kind of wish for those days sometimes, you know, because you spend so many days over a lifetime hunting so hard that, man, when you get one like that, man, it's something to enjoy just as much because, you know, they're so far and few between. But, you know, a couple things that reflect on that hunt, like, you know, Chris said, and he has said to me before, like, you know, these deer don't ever do the same thing, and Chris saw a bizarre pattern. And I remember, like, even backing up to your trip to Hawaii, we were talking before you left, and you were like, man, I wish I wasn't leaving. You know, this is right in the middle of hunting season, but, you know, you happen to have this amazing opportunity to go to Hawaii and take the family. And, you know, you came back, stuck to the game plan, and the very next day got that deer, which is, you know, freaking mind-blowing.
Yeah, I sent the picture to some of the friends that we went to Hawaii with a group of people. And they're like, man, your vacation just keeps going, right? You know, coming from Hawaii to killing an awesome buck with your bow in California, you know, and as you know, California's tough, man. It's a tough state. I mean, it took me 8 or 9 years of living here before I even harvested my first deer. So, yeah, it was bittersweet, man. It was pretty awesome, dude. I'm still kind of reveling in it, and it's still awesome. I think about it every day. I think about every hunt every day, and especially when I'm sitting at the dinner table consuming the bounty, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a beautiful deer, and Chris has shot some really nice deer in California, man. The Blacktail are so cool, and, you know, just makes it a little, I'm sure for you, Chris, even a little more enjoyable just because they're unique, and only a couple states have these blacktails. California is one of them, and they're so damn hard to hunt. And you've shot some beauties, man, so pretty awesome. I'm super proud of you, like always, man. I'm always can't wait till you guys start hunting season, and I get to hear, you know, daily updates from you. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, people live vicariously through us here in California because our season starts so early. I mean, the coastal range here in California, their season starts in July. It's miserable, man. It really is. And it's kind of hunting in those extremely warm conditions. It kind of geared me towards the ultralight type hunting, you know, wearing the different gear that breathes better and, you know, just more susceptible to staying out in that heat a little bit more. And it's amazing, dude, with these blacktail, man. I will get them on camera at some weird times, like 2 and 3 in the afternoon at 110 degrees. It's just I can't really make sense of it. I still can't make sense of what the hell these deer do and why they do it. But whatever, man. It's all fun, man. It makes it all the more challenging and all the more rewarding when things come together.
Yeah, that is wild. I know. I mean, that's one of the reasons I think it's so cool to talk about them is just because there's so much, intrigue to them being so bizarre and not having any answers to what they do and how they move. And it's amazing that, you're able to kill any of them just because there's for one, not a lot of information out there, and being that only a couple states get to hunt them, that means the information from other hunters is really limited as well. And that's what one cool thing I think about these podcasts are is like I get to touch base with you literally across the nation, and we get to share some of this information on a absolute unique species of deer like that.
Yeah, man, that's for sure. And they're a lot of fun. And most people are kind of tight-lipped about it, too, around here. And, opportunities are few and far between, so naturally people don't like to talk about where they're going and, that kind of thing. And it's understandable. And yeah, it's fun, man. It's a blast. I'm excited. Excited for this next year to see what we can make happen. And, maybe we'll have to get you out here sometime, Brandon, and you can get one of those blacktail on your wall.
Man, I would love that, man. I would love that. We need to just plan it, and I'll come out and do it. That's for sure. It's on my list, man. It's bizarre. Like, everybody has their stuff they want to do. Like, I'm really into deer, and I don't care if it's mule deer, blacktail deer, Sitka Island in Alaska. Like, I want deer, and I want to keep knocking off these subspecies of deer, and that's just kind of my lifetime goal. So you say the word, buddy. I'm out there.
Hey, I'm saying the word, man. Let's plan it. You tell me when you want to do it, and we'll do it. I mean, the most difficult part is you come for 4 or 5 days a week. I mean, it's tough to make it happen in that time frame with a bow. I mean, I hunt, anywhere from 40, 50, 60, 70, even up to 80 hours in the fields with no opportunities, and then it happens. It's just being there when they decide to be there, and you just got to be there every day in hopes that today's the day.
Yeah, for sure. You're right.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a limited time that makes every hunt hard, That's
right.
for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but since you're putting it on wax, that I can come out there, it's going to happen because I believe in Chris Hall, and he's going to put me on some deer. So I believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll make something work, man. I'm sure. So it'll be exciting, man. I look forward to sharing camp with you, man.
Heck yeah. Well, I know you got turkey season coming up, so make sure you keep us updated, Chris. And I know, sadly, it's Friday, so TGIF to everybody out there. But me and Chris are at work, so both of us probably need to get back to doing some stuff. But, man, thanks, Chris, for being here today and hanging out with me. As always, appreciate it, and love catching up with one of my best buddies.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. I always enjoy chit-chatting with you, man, and with a microphone between us. So we'll do it again, and I'm looking forward to turkey season. Things are looking good, seeing lots of birds and trying to gain new access. So I think we got some stories to come.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, Chris, let everybody know where they can find you social media-wise.
Yeah, you can, as Brandon mentioned, Instagram, it's going to be at horn_star_outdoors. On Facebook, just search Hornstar Outdoors. Twitter is at HornStarOutdoor, no S. And by email, hornstaroutdoors@gmail.com. You can search us on YouTube. We have a few videos up there. Most of the videos are kind of on my computer waiting to be edited. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I hate putting shoddy material out there, even though it is. But you can find us there, and, hit me up. Let's follow each other. Let's talk stories. Let's talk hunting, and the more the merrier.
Absolutely. And you guys have not had the opportunity, make sure you stop by on iTunes, leave Take Aim a 5-star review. Helps other people in the feed find the show. It's a huge help. So I appreciate it if you do that. And every week as well, you can find us on the Outdoor Podcast channel and podbros.com as well. Chris, thanks so much, and talk to you soon, buddy.
Thanks, Brandon. Have a good day, bud.
All right, you too.